visit directly with our elected officials. So it was a really nice opportunity and a nice commitment we're making to these folks. And so these also represent people who have desire to do more, to grow. And so if you're looking for committees, you're looking for other opportunities for growth, new positions in your area, look to this core of people to be able to participate and be a part of that effort. I also want to thank Dr. Michelle Shields for her involvement and her leadership in this. She was like the mother hen, kind of moving folks along and helping to facilitate the conversation. Incorporated a number of really good books in the conversation and articles, and a very interactive experience. So Michelle, thank you very much for your work there. So a few things, yes, please. So things happening around us. Yes, all the news that's fit to print. All right. This is not alternative news. This is not alternative facts. In the post-truth era, this is what I know to be true at this moment. And right here, we have new administration. Actually, some of them are becoming new as we speak. Betsy DeVos, the new Secretary of Education, now on board, a Michiganian, being a part of the new Trump administration. We are very interested to see what she has to say about education. Some things that we know about her so far is that she is pro-private industry. She's also pro-charter schools. I actually head out with some of our members of our Board of Trustees to Washington, D.C. next week, and I think I'm going to have the opportunity to meet her and then introduce her to other trustees and community college presidents. We also have a new Secretary of Labor. Don't know much about him either, but we're really just into the beginning of it, and so we need to let people kind of get their sea legs, get a chance to understand what they're particularly interested in, what their area of focus is. One of the things that I do know particularly about our Secretary of Labor is that he shares a passion with regard to reskilling and skilling up America for the dearth of jobs that are really predicted to be out there. Some of the major issues that we've got to deal with are really these. Funding continues to be a challenge. There seems to be a pretty strong desire to reduce federal involvement, reduce the amount of federal taxes, and we think that that's going to have an implication on a number of particular tools that are available, including funds set aside through Title III, whether it be TRIO funding or Workforce Investment Act funding. We're not quite sure how that's going to shake out, but we're going to continue to monitor it closely. As I mentioned previously, increased competition is going to continue to be an element that we're going to have to grapple with. That's going to be more people actually accessing lots of federal dollars that are available, and so that's going to increase the competition for funding, but also increasing competition for students. Lots of projections about new jobs, the jobs that have to be created, the shortfall. I'll talk a little bit about that in just a moment. The exciting thing is that this administration is really focused on getting the Higher Education Act reauthorized this year. In fact, I will be surprised if we don't see a markup sometime around March. We have key leadership that's already been defined, so all the committee responsibilities have been defined. In the House Education Workforce Committee, we've got Virginia Fox. In fact, I watched her testimony a couple of days ago. It was all about accreditation as being part of this higher education reauthorization. And Virginia Fox, Representative Fox, is really focused on having less involvement in the accreditation process. So we'll see what that's about. Also, particular focus on reducing the amount of paperwork for students to access federal financial aid. Ranking member is indicated there, Bobby Scott from Virginia. And then under the Help Committee here, Lamar Alexander continues on as chair, and Patty Murray remains as a ranking member. Yeah, Lamar Alexander, Senator Alexander, you probably remember if you watched some of the video from the testimony, he holding up the financial aid application, falling down and hitting the floor. And he's talked about the metaphor of having a financial aid application that is the size of a postcard. I think that's probably more of an idea or metaphor than what is really possible, but if we could get it reduced for all of our students and facilitate their ability to complete federal financial aid, that would be great. Nationally, there's about 18% of eligible students do not even bother to fill out the FAFSA application just because they're misinformed. They don't understand. It's too long. They're worried about it. They think Big Brother's looking in. Lots of reasons, but we could have 18% of our students, assuming the statistics hold, 18% of our student body could have access to additional federal financial aid. In some cases, that 18%, they do not even come to college eventually, or they drop out after a semester. So we're hoping to see some gains there. But I suspect, as I mentioned, we're going to see some kind of reauthorization I'm sure, this calendar year. I'm pretty sure about that. DACA and immigration continues to be a football that's been moving around for a while. The immigration ban heightened a lot of the discussion around this. We'll continue to monitor that and see if there are any other changes in that effort. And then, of course, one of the big things that the new president has talked about is having a lot of billions of dollars, when I say a lot of, in excess of $5 billion available for infrastructure to help colleges just like ours update its infrastructure and edifices and those kinds of things. Also significant dollars in the billions to be able to provide training and retraining and capacity building to individuals in the nation to be able to help them respond to the job demand that is out there. In terms of the state, again, just coming back, the bad news is there was no new operation money provided for community colleges. Actually shocking when the universities actually are seeing a 2.5% increase in their operational funding. There are some positive, I'll try to highlight those for you. The first one is $1 million, just a shade over $1 million, to help with the Michigan Transfer Network. This has been held by a university. It's an old network, old servers, old software. This $1 million is actually going to be shared between the university system and the community college system to install a new server, a new software management, and the community colleges, I think more particularly Michigan Community College Association, will be the host site for that. So we see that as a gain, but the real beneficiaries are going to be our students who transfer to baccalaureate granting institutions. There is also some additional funding for part-time student grants. Also, the tuition incentive grant, which is out there, the $5.3 million, that really is a benefit to those students who are going to private higher education. We're not recipients, we're not beneficiaries of that in any significant way. And then, of course, the Mission Tuition Grant, the Tuition Incentive Grant, we are recipients of, but the big money went to the Michigan Tuition Grant. That's the one typically going to private higher education. So today, some good news, yay. There has been a change in the governor's thinking about community colleges. The initial argument that he came out with, actually when his rec came out, the governor's proposal for the budget, felt that we have been receiving significant increases over the years, and in fact community colleges enrollments have actually dropped. Since 2012 we lost 56,000 students among the 28 community colleges. It's pretty significant. Yet state aid is kind of attenuated generally up, and the argumentation is, what for? Why are we spending more and more money on fewer and fewer students? It's a good question. That's if you assume that there's equity between the universities and community colleges in terms of dollars per student in terms of operating the institutions. Clearly not the case. A huge disparity between what the universities receive and the community colleges receive. And some of that is born of the fact that they believe that we can receive local property tax, which is true. However, at Jackson College, for example, we've tried 14 times since 1964 and have not been able to bend the needle in the right direction for additional local property tax revenue. So there is significant variation there. And there's also variation among other counties with regard to personal property taxes and taxes in general. Particularly up at the Upper Peninsula, there are more trees than there are people in the whole of the state, for example. So there's really a differentiation between local property tax and state support for each of these regions. So the good news that came out of the governor's office late yesterday and we talked about today was the fact that personal property tax is seeing a bit of an overage over what was predicted. The discussion right now is that could generate some significant funds, probably in the ballpark of about $15 million. How is that going to be distributed? Is it going to be distributed back to the state according to where the personal property, like the machinery and equipment that is used to generate that in the first place, is it going to go to where those original property taxes were started? That seems to be the discussion. In that particular scenario, there are a number of community colleges who will not get a penny either from the personal property tax rebate, and of course we're not getting any increase in operations. So we had a long discussion about that among the community college presidents today and thinking how do we work through that, and that's going to require perhaps a change in statute, perhaps some other legal changes that we might have to make to be able to get some money to Jackson College. I'll continue to work on that on behalf of Jackson College over the months ahead before the new fiscal year starts. For those of you who are new to our organization, our new fiscal year starts in September 1st, and the new state fiscal year doesn't start till October 1st. So there's a 3-month lag. We're already into our new fiscal year, and the new state money doesn't begin to flow till 3 months later. So I'm hoping we can get it figured out before our new fiscal year starts. That'll give us a higher level of predictability about our budget overall. So that's what's happening with budget. I'll keep you posted. I mentioned about some job demands. These are projections, and these are constantly attenuating based on the latest data that we can get. But right now, projecting into 2020, you're seeing a change with regard to the requirement of credentials being more and more important. Not necessarily an associate's degree, but some post-secondary education leading to a credential of market value. You're continuing to see the decline in the value of the high school diploma, less than, continues to attenuate about the same. But if you bring together the associate's degree and some college, meaning some kind of a certification at the post-secondary level, here we're sitting at 30% after growing from 27%. So in our wheelhouse, we're continuing to see percentage gains. It is true that this predictive curve is going to be higher than originally thought. You probably remember me saying about last fall, or maybe it was a year ago this time, I was talking about a report that came out of, Georgetown, the Center for Workforce, and it talked about 65% of all new jobs created will require some post-secondary credential. And that had been the statistic of discussion for 2 or 3 years. Well, we learned that we were wrong. And here's what's actually happened. 99% of all the new jobs that were created post-recession, post-Great Recession, so the Great Recession started in December of 2007 and ended in June in 2009. So from June 2009 to today, 99% of all new jobs created required a post-secondary education, outstripping the projection from the Center of Workforce Development at Georgetown University, and that's exactly where this report came from. A follow-on report to them also went further and to say, what's the outlook for the high school graduate overall? And you can see large numbers of jobs being predicted. In fact, the New America Foundation in Washington, D.C., it's now called New America, is predicting 16 million jobs short, 16 million degreed jobs short of what the current pipeline is providing. Let me say that a different way. All of higher education is cranking out degreed people. The pipeline is insufficient by 16 million by the year 2030. That's how short we're going to be. And we've been dealing with lots of issues about what's happening into enrollment. The 16 to 24-year-old continues to fall down. Ladies and gentlemen, we're not going to solve this problem by looking to the immediate high school graduate. We've got to, how many of you have read the book Blue Ocean Strategy? Came out of Harvard University. If we only focus on the 16 to 24-year-old, that's a red ocean solution, meaning you've got too few resources available for the demand that's out there. The sharks don't have enough fish to eat to stay alive. So we've got to go into blue oceans where there's plenty of life, if you will. And so we've got to think about, and we've been talking about this with our Board of Trustees and our Leadership Council, and I've had the occasion to talk with many of you about this. So we've got to fish in new oceans. We've got to find blue oceans where there's opportunity for us to grow enrollment and serve even more. And I'll tell you what, Jackson's one. 75% of our overall population do not possess a post-secondary credential of any kind. This is a target-rich environment, right, to be able to help individuals complete some kind of credential of market value. We also have a number of individuals who've taken somewhere between 15 and 45 semester credit hours. They've got some credit from us, but they don't have a degree. So reaching out to those individuals, allowing them to earn a credential and perhaps stack that up on top of other credentials and build on that to have something that meets their needs. But these are viable careers, and they're paying well, but we are really going to be concentrating more and more of our effort around career and technical education, and that's where the new administration is going to be as well. We also have the challenge of, I think, the bias that these are dirty jobs. Middle skills jobs are not dirty jobs. I'm sure there's some out there, but some of the companies that we go to, I've gone with Tina Matz and some others to different plants, even around Jackson County. You can eat off the floor of many of these plants. I mean, they're very, very clean. You've got to be highly oriented. You've got to have a basic understanding of math and logic and reasoning, programming controllers and equipment and robots. These are jobs that require precision and understanding and an education to support that. So we've got opportunity, but the answer is not going to be in the traditional high school graduate. And we've got to be on top of that and think about new blue oceans. Also, to expand the blue ocean strategy is to think about not only where we fish for the future student, but also how do we adapt to a constantly changing environment. And this headline was probably more of the moniker I've been seeing a lot of in the last 6 to 8 months. We're seeing that colleges are really thinking about new ways of not only marketing, and marketing is everybody's responsibility, not just Dottie and her team, everybody's responsibility. How we promote the college, how we talk to our neighbor across the fence about our institution, constantly promoting in the store, where are you going to school? But there are lots of other things beyond that that are being pursued in order to build enrollment and also to be attractive to organizations. Active learning is one of the biggest drivers with regard to recruiting students, where they are coming in and they're actually physically engaged in the work, whether through technology or actually involved in the learning that is taking place in the classroom, or it's site-based learning. Some kind of experiential opportunity is having a big impact on recruiting and retaining students. Confucius knew this a long time ago. He said, you tell me, forget. You show me, I understand. You involve me. You show me, I remember. You involve me, I understand. This is about applied learning, getting people involved and really making them understand the depth and the magnitude of what it is to be learned. There are other technologies that are contributing to this. Geofencing, for example, for marketing. So some colleges have gone out and actually put a geofence, meaning kind of an umbrella around theaters. And so when you come in there, popping up on your iPhone or whatever device you have are ads about the closest university or enrollment or some kind of discount going on. So incorporating those kinds of technologies will be important as well. And also thinking about ways in advancing partnerships with four-year institutions, 3+1 agreements like we have with Siena Heights, pushing the fact that the students can go and get a bachelor's degree for really a significantly reduced cost, attending their junior year level with Siena Heights at the same tuition level as Jackson College. Those are beneficial. So we're looking at lots of ways to counteract the decaying enrollment. And as I mentioned, in the state of Michigan, all 28 institutions have lost 56,000 students since 2012. Here's another way to look at the data. We're seeing overall in community colleges nationally about a 2.6% decline. If you pull the onion layers back a little bit further, you can see that there are changes with regard to the older student versus the younger student, which tends to be at about 1%. So we continue to watch those changing demographics and make an assessment about where as a community college can we respond to what we see as current emerging demand and also the changing environment. One of the other things that the Board of Trustees is very good about driving me on is that's making sure that we have demonstrable results. And by virtue of the monitoring reports about what the board has set as kind of goals for us to work on, making sure that we really have a laser focus on taking care of the student who's already here. One of the greatest things that we know about is if we focus on and are committed to student success, we know that keeping a student here and helping them to be successful here is a cheaper investment for us long term than going out and recruiting new students. So not only does total commitment to student success make sense from a moral point of view, from an ethical point of view, it also makes financial sense for us to do that work as we continue to see what's happening with enrollment overall. There are lots of new competitors from environments we've never seen before. So we have a new one called Lydia, and it comes in a partnership with Lydia and Netflix, providing information out on the web. This is different than the MOOCs that we talked about a few years ago. This is where you've got a combination of video, competency-based instruction available for the education at the time and place that you need it. I'm believing long-term that the Carnegie unit, the grade letter and the amount of hours that you are sitting in a seat is going to mean less and less. In fact, we're hearing that from the new administration. The greater need being sought out and how Netflix is addressing that and many others in the emerging field is focusing on competencies. What do you know now? And how do we assess for what you know now? And let's document what you know now. Even though you may not have gone to college, let's document that. And figure out where do you want to go. and then provide you an opportunity to acquire those skills through applied learning, practical learning, clinical-based learning, and build that credential, and then that is the marketable publication, the transcript, call it what you will, that you take to an organization and become employed with. At some point or other, we're all hoping to be employed unless you're inherently wealthy. So having a focus on the competencies, skills, and abilities and knowledge that you have, and being able to credentialize that is increasingly important to the new administration, but also represents an increasing market share that is being eaten out of the traditional higher education system by organizations like Lydia.com. So again, you got my email earlier in the week, but thank you to all of you who did so much to have this great experience at Jackson College for all of our accreditors. As I mentioned in my email to you, the team was so impressed with their experience at Jackson College. Not only did we look good on so many frames, many ways of looking at our campus overall, we were prepared. We were prepared because we are constantly accredited. We're not like the standard pathway method where you kind of go along for about 8 years, and years 8 and 9 you really get busy and start putting a lot of things together because the accreditors are showing up, and then you wait feverishly hoping at the end of 10th year that maybe you'll be accredited again. That's not the case. You'll recall from many of you who've been here for a while that we actually went to a new type of accreditation a number of years ago called AQUIP, the Academic Quality Improvement Project, where this is continuous accreditation. Every year we're reporting to the Higher Learning Commission about how we're doing, the action projects that we're working on. We're giving them updates about how we're doing overall. So our focus is laser focused not only on total commitment to student success, but the requirements of the accreditors. So there's no really shock about what we're doing or what we're not doing. We know how good we are, we know how great we are, and we know where our limitations are, and we're on top of that all the time, every year. So this was more of a procedural step for us to go through the accreditation process. But the accreditors were impressed with all of the great work we're doing, the process improvement strategies that we have, our commitment to students, to each other, our beliefs. They were really impressed by that. The commitment to the use of data and helping data to guide us to be a better organization. This goes along about every 8 years. If you get on the list of shame in the Higher Learning Commission, don't want to be there, then there would be one every 4 years, so 4 years and 8 years, but we are doing very, very well. I'm looking forward to getting a report from them in about 3 weeks' time. This will be their initial summary of their findings. This is my opportunity to review it with regard to errors of fact or omission, and that's all that I can do. I can't contest what they're saying. I can just correct facts or significant omissions relative to what's been said. And then that will actually go through the process at the institution, the Higher Learning Commission in Chicago, go through the Institutional Actions Committee, reviewed by the board, come back to us. We're looking at about 3 months' time or so. But all of you who have been involved in this process, whether you were serving on pathways teams, faculty hiring committees, the business office, marketing, how beautiful the grounds are, every one of you in this room, I can point to you exactly and tell you the contribution you made to that process. This is important. Accreditation is absolutely important. It's important because if we don't have it, we don't get federal financial aid for our students. If we don't have it, other colleges don't want to take the credits our students have earned. Those are two big reasons why accreditation is important, and you all get an A in my book for the good work that you did in recognizing the team. So please give yourself a hand for an outstanding visit. I can't go further but without acknowledging particularly Rob Sturton and Debbie Schisler, who really were the masterminds behind the work, making sure that all the ducks were lined up, all the paperwork was filed, all the web pages were current and accurate, that the team had what they wanted, and that the accreditation liaison had what she needed. And I'm convinced that that went very, very well because of their tutelage and guidance along in the process. Lux et Veritas. How many of you knew that was at the bottom of the Great Seal of Jackson College? You do now. Lux et Veritas, Latin for light and truth. I give credit to the naming of this by Anthony Cleveland. He was one of the early members of this group, kind of a loose confederation of folks that have come together to think, differently about our organization, to think inclusively about our organization, to think about us as employees, about our responsibility to a broader community and our responsibility to students. So as Anthony put it, I'm paraphrasing, but it's the shining the light on where we are in this time, in this place, in this country. And speaking to the truth, that we call out, we do the fact checking, we speak to the truth. Just because I'm saying it doesn't mean it's true. Let's speak to the truth of what's happening to our students. Let's speak to the truth of the benefit of diverse backgrounds and a rich diversity of all of us, employee and student alike, and community, coming together for the benefit of all. Making sure that Jackson College is absolutely the safe environment for you to come to express your opinion, to debate and to discuss in thoughtful and respectful fashion with each other. And in so doing, we grow as individuals, we help our community, and we help our country. So we are in the process of advancing Lux et Veritas, and we've put together a draft charter statement, which we do in authorizing all of our committees and task forces around campus. I will tell you, if you are interested in helping this college and ensure and address and advance our core values and our beliefs that include civility, that include the welcoming of all people to our institution, the grand expression of what diversity does in benefiting us all, I would encourage you to let me know or let Sarah Perkin in my office know. We'll get you dialed into the process. We think this is an important conversation, particularly right now in our country. I mentioned that I was up at the Michigan Community College Association meeting. It was a very good meeting up there. Some of it was about preparations for one of our regular meetings that we're actually having on this campus. So I wanted you to be aware of it. On the 23rd and the 24th, you're going to have a bunch of folks parachuting in, presidents of community colleges and trustees too. We're going to have dinner here in the Lower Commons in the Potter Center. And then we'll spend the bulk of the next day over in the new Burt Walker Hall in those community rooms. So we'll be around, and they'll have name tags and so forth. And as you see them around, just give them the traditional, normal Jackson welcome, Jackson College welcome, and smile, and welcome them to our campus. So we're going to have a great experience there, and talking about how we advance community colleges in this great state. And we're also going to be talking about what I had mentioned previously about funding for community colleges. So it will be a very important conversation for all of us. Some of you have been involved in various activities around campus as we're thinking about next projects for our campus, where we're headed, and some of you will be invited to participate even further. I wanted to bring you up to date on a few things that we're working on right now. The first of which is the Oasis Center. The Oasis Center is our continuing expression of our beliefs about the importance of our students and taking care of our students in a very meaningful way and in areas that we've really not contemplated in the past. What we contemplate in the Whiting Hall West, first floor, right next to the medical clinic that we're very grateful to have there in our partnership with Henry Ford Allegiance, is a place for individuals to come who are having emotional challenges or mental challenges in their life. If they want to just come in and say, I'm just stressed out, I just need a place to sit and just clear my head. If I am a student or an employee, it doesn't matter. We will welcome you there. We will have trained professionals that are going to be in this space. And it's designed just to help people work through. I mean, life is pretty complex. It's a beautiful, amazing life, but every once in a while, things come along in our life which are disruptive. And for our students, the same is true. And so in some cases, it's I just don't know how to get along with my roommate. My boss is a jerk. I hate my dad. I don't know why it won't take me to the mall. Have you seen that book? I hate my dad. No, Dad, I hate you, but can you take me to the mall? You've got those kinds of things that are going on. Plus, this is the sadder side for me personally. Having a daughter with mental health challenges, sometimes employees and students alike have darker thoughts, wondering about, is this all worth it? You know, is life worth living? Is life worth living? Maybe not a question you're asking of yourself now, but there are people among us and at this college that have those thoughts from time to time. And where do they go? I will tell you that in the span of time, from the beginning of the fall semester to today, we've had 4 students who've tried to take their life. 4 students at Jackson College. That's 4 way, way, way too many. So you have that at one end of the spectrum. At the end of the spectrum, I'm just having difficulty. I'm stressed out. I don't know how to do this. I think I'm stupid. You know, people told me I don't know math, so I'm just plain an idiot. I don't know what I'm doing here. At a time when we've never been more connected as a society, we still feel alone, and in my view, even more so. So this is a place where any of us, I don't care who you are, president of the college, it doesn't matter. If you're having a rough day and you just need to talk to somebody to get some of that stuff out and have someone inject hope and possibility into your life, to speak truth into you, this is a place where you can go. And so we're looking to get started on this and have it ready by fall semester of the year. So we'll be very, it says anticipated opening date is fall of 2018. That should be 2017. So we'll have that ready by the fall. Very excited about this space, and it'll be a very calming, relaxing space for you to go. And if you see students, if you see colleagues that are struggling, encourage them to go see folks over in the Oasis Center. Another facility, this would be a new facility that we're talking about. It's called the HSK. It stands for Health, Sport Management, and Kinesiology, the science of sport and health. And many of you who use the existing Victor Kiewis Fieldhouse know that we have pressed this thing way past its normal service. We've got lots of work going on, and we have actually had a team of folks who have gone out all over the far reaches of Michigan looking at everything from athletic clubs to university spaces. Washtenaw Community College, which has an amazing partnership with a private entity to provide space for health. This would be a space where we have academic instruction focused on helping people become athletic trainers, how to be a coach, those kinds of things, focusing on wellness. So it'll be a confluence of not only kinesiology, the science of sport and sport management and health, but it also will have influence of health and also the influences of business and management. So if I want to run my own tennis club, I can go there and I can learn business. I can take an entrepreneurship class from Ron Betzig, for example, and I can really get this all brought together. It all takes a lot of pressure off of the existing facility, the Victor Kiewis Fieldhouse. It also would provide us the opportunity to rehab a little bit the existing Kiewis Fieldhouse, add air conditioning to it, and take some pressure off that way. So we'll see where that's going. We have already submitted the application to capital outlay funds. For those of you new to the institution, we're able to access state resources, 50% of the total cost of construction and equipment, instructional equipment. We can get that from the state, and that is repaid over time. So we put in 50%, the state puts in 50%. That's how we're funding the buildings on campus. These are suggestions from the committee. They have thought about long and hard about what could be in there, what would make sense. There's also been a suggestion that we might even add wrestling to our lineup of sports programs at Jackson College. So we're looking at that as well. I really appreciate the fine effort of the team. Can we have the team stand up who was involved in that? I'd just like to recognize you for the good work. Come on, stand on up. Katie Fall, I know you're in the mix. Others, come on, stand on up and be recognized. Thank you for the good work. Thank you. So thank you for the work on that. We'll continue to keep you posted. I was looking at the capital outlay roster. We are on the roster now. It's just a question of how much funding is going to be set aside. Lots of extra money, millions, hundreds of millions of dollars available in the state coffers right now. The big question is, where's it going to go? I vote for roads first, and then we'll talk about capital outlay second. All right, so the next facility that we're talking about, which would be funded entirely through individual and external sources, would be something we're calling the Spiritual Center. Again, for all employees, for all of our students, this is a place where people can go and feel centered about whatever drives their core. And so we're thinking that this would be a space, ideally it would be located immediately north of the bookstore. So to give you some orientation, the bookstore would be about right here. So it would have a little bit of a canting more toward the south and west, if you will. It would provide an outdoor space as well as an indoor space, and be based around the four elements rather than having particular leanings toward a particular faith or some of the elements that look like they belong in a particular component of faith. We're kind of just focusing on the earth, wind, fire, and water kind of notion, and that's kind of how it would be set up on the inside. But this is a space where you could go and have time for personal reflection, to get centered, to think about where you are, to to commune, to make connections with a higher power, if that's what you believe. And we think in thinking about the success of our students, looking at the whole student, not just the person who comes here from my class from 10 to 10:55, thinking about the whole student. So in terms of their overall mental health, their physical health, and their spiritual health at our institution. Lest you think that this is unique for public higher education, actually you can go on colleges and university campuses all over the nation that do this. In fact, I was out in Arizona just a week or so ago along with the team working on pathways, and I saw Arizona State over on the side. Arizona State has a chapel in the middle of their campus. It's a place where people could have weddings. They could rent it just like they're renting the lower commons, for example. We also have individuals in the community who may be interested in renting it for some kind of a service. Maybe, as I said, they could have weddings there, those kinds of things. So, but this would be entirely funded through private sources. So we'll continue to see how quickly that moves along depending upon Jason Valente and how quickly he can generate all those revenues, Jason. So it's all on you, buddy. All right, completion of the Beltway. This is a project that we're also working on right now. We're actually here, the orientation, this is the south of campus, north of campus, here's the athletic fields. The orange isn't showing up very well, it looked really good on the PowerPoint, but essentially what we'll be doing is moving on from where CV2 is and where the ABC Academy is, and finishing this beltway, connecting up near Da Vinci, and then there would be an angled ingress-egress off of Hague. We're having conversations with the folks from Summit Township because we want to make sure that there are sufficient lines of sight for people coming down from the north and people coming from the south up Hague Avenue. We've got to be careful about the sight lines so when they pop over the hills they have sufficient time to respond to vehicles coming in and coming out of that space. So we're intent on moving that forward. Once that this is actually completed as part of this effort, we contemplate about a 10-foot setback or so all the way around the perimeter of the Beltway. And the reason for that is that we contemplate putting in place, we've already received some donations and some grants already, to put in a fitness trail. So what is a fitness trail? It's going to be about 1.33 miles long, and it's going to be about 4.5 feet wide, made of asphalt. And every so often there will be a total of 24 stations, fitness stations, where you'll go there and there'll be some kind of fitness opportunity. There'll be a sign that tells you, some of you have probably seen these around different communities you've visited, and you go there and you stop and say, okay, they want to work on the back part of my leg. And so you stand there and there's got a rail and you're kind of doing your thing there. Maybe you're doing some pull-ups or whatever the case might be. They'll have this kind of recycled rubber that will be there, so if you fall, at least you bounce back up. So that is contemplated as part of it too. So we're going to continue to raise some private funds from that. As I mentioned, we've received a nice little grant for that. We're working with some companies to design what that is going to look like. But this is also good for all of our student athletes, for all of us as employees who want to get up and walk around. You know, I've just learned if you just take care of a few things yourself personally, deep breathing is such an important thing to do. Every hour, if you could just take 1 minute and breathe out and breathe in deeply, if you get up out of your chair once every hour, you've just done amazing stuff for your health. Let alone getting outside on campus and walking around. And you know, I'm just tired of dodging Sandra Phelan out walking around on the road is another thing too. So we don't want any of our staff becoming hood ornaments. This is another reason why we're looking at a fitness trail. So we'll keep you posted on that as well. Also, this is not a thing you can touch. It's the SQL server. This kind of conversation gets Jim Jones just really his heart beating quickly. We're going to have a server migration. And I really appreciate all the folks in IT being able to accommodate the schedule of which we are able to still take enrollments and have students come in and provide the services, coordinate that with spring breaks and other existing gaps. They do an amazing job of keeping our IT systems up and running. Even more and more important as we move forward to textbook zero, I'll talk about that in just a second. But having the ability to get this done in a very finite way, so to Kelly Chambers and Jim and Randy and the whole team of IT, they do an awesome work keeping all of us running all of the time, don't they? Yeah. And this is no different. This looks like easy words to put up on a screen, but the work behind the scenes is very, very intensive. These people are not going to be able to get this done from 8 to 5, you know, on 3 or 4 days. They'll be working into the wee hours doing this work, so we appreciate the good work getting this done. So we have these kinds of benefits that are are attenuated to our overall institution and service of our students and the good work that we do. Breaking news! Yes, I need some music in the background going along with this. Breaking news! Thanks to the leadership of Jason Valente and the great folks in our foundation area, we've got some money coming to us from the Weatherwax. Weatherwax Foundation. Some of you have been in town for a while. You know that this fund actually has to sunset by 2018. So bless you. We were able to get into the Weatherwax Foundation and get some of this funding, $200,000, with the understanding that we had to match that funding. So they said they wanted to focus, and donors don't always want to do what we want to do. They want to do what they want to do. And what they want to do is actually take care of the lobby out there. And they were pretty specific about the kinds of things that they would entertain doing. And so as a part of that, they provided $200,000 in a match format. The overall project cost is $467,000. They've said that we've got to come up with this part of the money, the $267,000 match, by June 30th in order to qualify for the $200,000, and that the entire project has got to be done by August 1st. Woo! I tell you, we've got Jim Jones and all the facilities people just kind of go, how are we going to get this all done too? Thankfully, we've got good folks with the Mercer organization, who's our construction management manager of record. Great people helping us to design the space. There's also the possibility that for those of you who go into the Potter Center, actually the Sheffer Music Hall, know that we have a number of older patrons who come to our college, and there's a possibility that we might get an additional kicker that would provide for railing for older hands and to stabilize them as they kind of move through the theater spaces. So we're very, very excited. Thanks to Jason and the team there for getting this. So this is money from outside of our organization that's going to beautify the lobby area. We realize that we've still got Dennis Young. This is for you, man. I just want you to know we're also going to be concentrating on the theaters too. They need to replace the chairs, carpeting, those kinds of things. We're not stopping with just this grant, so we're going to keep that going. Some updates with regard to the academic areas, pathways. This is a good one. Who in this room does not know what pathways is? That's what I call market coverage right there, market coverage. Very good. Well, here are some of the updates. We just returned. The team just came back from Tempe, Arizona. Yes, it was a tough assignment because it was like 40 degrees. That's tough for Tempe. There were people out there wearing sweaters. I kid you not. We were thinking, yeah, bring on the sun. Let's give that the sunscreen. But this is the kind of work that we have been working on. I really thank the various teams of faculty who are leading this work. The 6 pathways that we have established for our institution are absolutely spot on. It is not surprising to me that every time that we go to these pathway sessions, for those of you who may not be aware, we were selected as one of 30 community colleges nationwide receiving Bill and Melinda Gates funding to figure out how we could make it much more simple for students to matriculate through our institution, not lose any credit, move through in a timely and efficient way, making maximum use of their time with us in financial aid, and complete a credential of market value. The faculty, the Academic Affairs Council, the deans, everybody has been doing good work, rethinking that which we've had for a long time. So with regard to what are prerequisites and are they necessary, what's the best pathway for students to move through, how do we design the core courses that they need to have and move up from there, reestablishing general education outcomes and core competencies. This is a lot of work that doesn't appear real sexy on the front end, but it has a real impact on students' lives and moving efficiently through our institution. It is part and parcel of our total commitment to student success. We have 2 more pathway institutes to go through. We'll have one this summer, and then the last one will be in September. To let you know how comprehensive these pathways are, this next one coming up, Institute number 5, we will actually have to have representatives from the community coming with us to talk about the relevance of what we're doing, the outcomes of what we're doing, and their impact in the community. And the last institute, we will actually have representatives from our Board of Trustees actually participating with us as well to make sure that they continue to hold me as their officer accountable to the progress of our institution, making sure that we're on path, committed to student success, which is one of their ends. So good work there. I want to particularly thank Brian and Kate for their good work leading us up for Textbook Zero. Here's an interesting statistic. I just learned this today. We're not the only one institution that has been working on this frame. We've got lots of peers out there, and I know Brian and Kate and others have been leading off of our peers, and not only nationally, but within the state of Michigan. But in the state of Michigan, among the 28 community colleges are already doing this work. They've not formally launched a complete textbook zero. It's the people like Dr. Mark Ott who are already doing this work in their classroom. They're already reaching out to OpenStax and Creative Commons, the OER, and pulling this stuff in. Already today, right now, this is as of, actually it's as of December 31st, in the 28 community colleges doing some portion of this work already. In that span of time, we have saved students $1.5 million in textbook and related expenses because of that. That's a lot of money, spread over now about 108,000 students among the 28 community colleges. That's significant. And for students who have little resources, this is important to them. So I really appreciate the work of Dr. Newberry and Dr. Thiroff on getting this moving forward. To all of you who have been experimenting and trying different things, to the IT folks who are helping us to understand what is the specification that we have to have that works within our bandwidth that allows us to get this work done. The bookstore has been very helpful with us understanding about the kinds of tool that the students may have to have and where do they go to acquire that on our own property here. So very excited about what this means. This work has been around since 2013. Tidewater Community College was actually the first community college to bring this kind of idea forward. So we're excited about what this means for us long term. Center for Instructional Innovation. I am really excited. If you've not been to this space, you want to go into the new Burt Walker Hall, second floor on the south side. This is what it looks like. It's called the Sandbox. This is for all of you. This is not just for people in Walker Hall. It's for anybody. If the facility staff want to go there, if the wait staff want to go there, it doesn't matter. If the building coordinators want to go there, this is a space for any of you at any time. There's a scheduling process, of course, but this is a place where you can go to have access to all kinds of technology, from a cyclic whiteboard that you can just write continuously on, to lots of comfortable meeting spaces, to projection system, TVs, monitors, and the like. It's a great space. It is your space to be creative, to think aloud. Sometimes just getting folks in a room and thinking about where are we going, what are we working on, what's the thorny problem we're currently dealing with, working on that in a nice and supportive spaces, and Kate and Brian's offices are right next door. This is an idea of some of the things that they did just in early 2016. Remember, we just opened the building. So these are some of the great things that are going on. So if you've got an idea, you want to be able to use that space, reach out to Dr. Thiroff and we'll make that space available to you. But it's a great place for any of us to use. It's for everyone, and I encourage you to do it. Here's some pictures of what that looks like. So you can see faculty and staff have gotten together and doing some brainstorming, just getting thoughts out up on paper. Einstein used to say, I like giving speeches because I can hear what I'm thinking about. Sometimes we're so busy, we don't take time to just pause and reflect about what's bothering me, what's stressing me out, what's the thorniest problem I just haven't been able to fix. It's this intrinsic problem. How do I resolve it? And sometimes getting that up and engaging in brainstorming sessions, we have the opportunity to find solutions which may have eluded us previously. So use that space. Melanie Marie is continuing to do great work with also the newest person in the Institute, and that's Darren, doing great work with regard to international. In fact, Melanie is not with us today, otherwise I'd have her stand up. We do have a new person you're going to meet in a little bit. Dr. Wang is here as part of our Confucius program participation. Really excited about the continuing partnership we have and having representatives from the Confucius Institute helping us work more closely with China, and also building our capacities around global understanding and global appreciation. We're also working with the Center for Global Initiatives at the Michigan Community College Association, looking at criteria that define what does a graduate who leaves a community college, what would it look like if they had a credential of market value, a credential that says that we are globally competent, that I have facility as being an ambassador of this country to other countries, that I have at least some basic understanding of other cultures, of other world languages. So very excited about that direction. That might be something that we're adding to our curriculum to provide, in addition to whatever degree or credential they get, that there might be a global competency or a certificate of global competency as well. These are some updates, things that we're currently working on. Very excited about the startup, essentially, of our English Language Institute. This is giving you a sense of where our students are coming from all over. We currently have two of our faculty over in Indonesia. Ron Betzik and also Tom Stewart are over there with some grant funding that we were able to receive and in partnership with Michigan State University, exploring the opportunities of business partnerships and entrepreneurship with the Indonesian people. Also, Melanie is actually over in India right now as we speak, enjoying a good dish of curry something, I'm sure. But more importantly, she is working with the mother of one of our students in helping us figure out how we can reach even further into India and encouraging students to come to Jackson College. So I'm very excited about her work there and looking forward to hearing more about that work. David Hooper has been doing some great stuff. You know, last night I was watching the, not Top Chef, some chef show for just little kids. Have you seen that? Have you seen that one? Like Top Chef Junior or something? 8-year-old kids making this wonderful meal in front of them. They're getting aprons. They're going on to the next thing. These kids are hugging each other. They're loving what they're doing and making great food. I thought, at 8 years old, I think I had mastered the peanut butter and jelly sandwich. But food, you know, and food sustainability are important topics for us. And the idea of culinary and management and presentation, food quality, food presentation, all of that is important. And it's a big business too, and we have lots of students who are interested in learning more and more about that. Through David's effort and Jeremy and lots of other faculty and staff working together, we recently received authorization from the Higher Learning Commission to have authority to offer the baccalaureate degree in culinary arts and hospitality management. This breaks out the programs a little bit, so it gives you a sense of the culinary side, which is actually the competency-based hand-on culinary experience, presentation, work, the quality of food, the health behind the food that we eat, but also the linkage between business and management, whether you're going to be a restaurateur, you're going to start your own business, coffee shop, whatever the case might be. The business science behind running a food operation is important as well. So this is officially our second baccalaureate program at Jackson College. Very excited about the good work that we're doing on that. Let's talk about student services, shall we? That is such a beautiful picture of that building, isn't it? At nighttime, that is just awesome. That logo up in the corner is just so majestic looking up there if you're on campus in the evening hours. Here's to give you an idea of some of the good things going on. This from our admissions staff. All over, they're everywhere. They're like omnipresent. You look around, there's an admissions person. What are they doing here? Well, this gives you a sense of some of the good work that they're doing. Whether it be college fairs or Latino summits that we've had, the country music television event that we had recently, lots of good work thinking about beyond the 16 to 24-year-old traditional pipeline that I mentioned earlier. These folks are on the ground, moving around, driving those white cars around, looking for people, hiding under rocks, and getting them to this college and enrolling and participating in the good work that we're doing here. Things that you wouldn't anticipate, like the Farm Bureau agricultural event, for example. They're also very good about getting the high school counselors to our campus. Have you noticed when you get people to Jackson College, they're kind of sold on Jackson College. But if it's some kind of amorphous idea over there, not so much. But if we can get parents, counselors, superintendents, presidents here, we tend to hook them in, and that's really good, and I appreciate the good work of our admissions folks. Records and registration, really excited about this number here with regard to dual enrollment. Record-breaking 765 students in the high school system enrolled at Jackson College. That's pretty amazing. That is saving students and parents money as these individuals are earning high school and college credit at the same time, not only saving them money but also saving them time. I'm also very excited about this idea here with the first Bachelor of Science graduate coming at graduation this May. So we'll hand out our first baccalaureate degree come May. I'm looking forward to that as well. Financial aid continues to do some amazing work. They have moved back from the edge of default and working with Ed Financial and doing great advising work with our students in financial aid and reducing our default rate overall. It's our hope that on the next cohort we'll be below 20% overall. I think we're at a high. Christy and her team, I think at one point we were over 24%, like 24.1% in that ballpark. But we're making great progress in reducing default rate for our institution. That's important. I'll tell you why in a second, but it's most important for students. that they understand the obligation, that they are well trained with regard to financial responsibility, financial management, that they don't take out more than they need to. That takes time with our student advisors and student success navigators and financial aid staff to help them understand, don't go out and take all the money you can take out. Take what you need, and because you've got to pay that back at some point. Default prevention, default management is important for us because if default rates get above 30% for more than 3 years in a row, or 1 year at 40% default, you can actually lose your ability entirely to provide federal financial aid to students altogether. So paying attention to this number, making sure students are good custodians of their own personal resources and loan responsibility is in fact important. Student success data continues to rise. For me, these going back for the last 3 semesters, fall is the gray, fall of 2016, winter 16 is in the kind of brown, what color is that? And then the blue in 2015. You can see the effect of the student success navigators. Where are our student success navigators? Would you stand up, please? Stand up. Go ahead, student success navigators, stand up. Please, yes, 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 yes. These folks particularly, as well as all of us, but these folks in particular are doing some amazing work. There's a reason why these data points are showing positive climbing with regard to that their advisor, for this one, for example, my academic advisor shows concern for students as individuals. That was at the core of what we wanted to have. Remember the SESI data from UT Austin? We knew, the research told us, even at Jackson College, if at least there's one person at the college who can demonstrate that you know my name, that you care about me, you know what interests me, you know what my challenges are, you know what my dog's name is, if there's at least one person, the potential for success and completion at that institution goes up significantly for that student. You know, and we find that out in other smaller groups. Our Men of Merit program, for example, right? We know the impact in terms of persistence and academic performance. The TRIO program, for example, we know the academic success and persistence of students because we have a small group of people with a few people on top of them making sure that they're successful. And that is the core work of our student success navigators as well as our faculty and staff. It's having an impact, folks. Thank you very much for your good work. Speaking of TRIO, where's Melissa? Melissa, where are you and your team at? Where are the TRIO folks? They're out of state? And I'm going to brag on her. Really? Okay, let's talk about this next time. No, just kidding. The TRIO program, which is part of the Title III funding, the funding we get from the federal government, is very, very helpful to us in finding, I think it's 144 students, if I remember right, that are particularly focused to be most at risk and are selected to participate in this program. That's it. Monica, you get a picture? You're going to send it to her? Good. All right. Good. Just checking, you know. Tweet that out, will you? It is actually important. So these are the success points that we're talking about. So retaining a population of 70%, 90% were in good academic standing for the fiscal year. The persistence rate higher than the general population of the institution. So we know this is working, right? We know when we focus our abilities and our knowledge and our skill set with these people, or many of whom are still first generation, we improve their lives, we improve their success, we give them hope. We offer hope for the hopeless for so many. That's thanks to all of you. This is awesome, absolutely awesome data points for our institution. The Center for Student Success, what can I say? Monica, that's you. You want to take another picture? This is absolutely amazing. Look at these visits. From 1 year ago, up 61%. 84% from fall or winter from 16 to 17. And even for just 16 fall to winter 17, visits are up 3%. Hours spent there, 10%. This is a place where I'm having difficulty with reading, writing, mathematics. TRIO is right off the corner of that. This is a place where you can get support. So when faculty, and I appreciate you faculty so much, I hope you know that, when you take the time to indicate on the early warning indication, my students having difficulty, the alarm bell goes off for the Student Success Navigator, we get them into the space and they do the triage work, the academic triage work to help these students get back to successful positioning, making sure that they're not going to stop out of your course. It's so important that we help these students and focus on their success in their classroom while they're still with us rather than walk away and we don't know why. This work that goes on with Monica and her team is absolutely critical to the success of our institution. All these things, you see how they all come together, they all fit together and focus on TCS squared that is so essential for our institution. Another related effort, well, I'm going to brag on Monica Bowman, but also Professor Stephen Tuckey. Our work with regard to the math department and supplemental instruction, we have a conference coming up on this campus on April 22nd, and Monica Bowman is the president, and the treasurer historian is Stephen Tuckey. We're bringing more distinction to this institution, but also a particular focus on the programs and services that our students need to be successful. I didn't ask these people to do that, they just did it. These are people who are committed to student success. They go above and beyond to do what's necessary for our students to be successful. Let's give it up for Monica and Stephen Tuckey. Athletic update. Yeah, I need to go out to the weight room, work out a little bit more. Feeling I had a little too much weight from the winter still carried around. Lots of great things happening with our folks in athletics. Remember, ours are student athletes. Student athletes. Academics come before the work of athletics. And Heather and her team, all of our coaching staff, do an amazing job of making sure students don't forget what their first priority is, and that's the education they need to be successful long term. So you're getting a sense of what the GPA is of our students here. Overall is 2.9% for our baseball team, rather, at almost 3.3%. So we're excited about the good work there. Other notable things, we also have our head coach for women's softball, Jamie, has been selected. You probably noticed that in Jackson Magazine. She was one of the top 30, under 30 for 2016. We appreciate that. And then we also had a women's soccer player who earned the National Junior College Athletic Association Player of the Week. First time ever in the history of our college for the women's soccer program. And a few other things I might want to mention to you is the disc golf course. I was just talking with Jim Jones, talking about getting that place all lined up for the summer. We have a lot of people come out from our community. Again, we get them to our campus. That's a good thing. So we're going to be upgrading that course a little bit. There'll be benches and trash cans out there, so we keep the campus looking nice. So appreciate the good work of the facilities team and Jim and your leadership in that regard. Also, we have moved some of the equipment in the cardio area in the gymnasium. Is just a little tired. So we're exiting some of that older equipment and moving brand new equipment that was actually in the hangar but not used by our students. So we've moved that into the gymnasium in the cardio area. It's getting a lot more use there. And very excited about that. Also, if you have not bought your Sportsman Banquet tickets for this Saturday at 5:30 in the gymnasium, please do so. See Jason afterwards. Wrestle him to the ground. There's only a few tickets left. It's all sold out now? Oh, still event tickets. All right. Hey, there's still time, folks. No raffle, though. So nobody else can be in the pool for the quad or the Rolex watch? Good. My odds just went up. That's great. All right. Wow. Little scalping going on right over here. Thank you, Bridget. Yeah, that's not illegal. That's okay right here. Yeah, all right. Awesome. Awesome. So we're excited about the Sportsman's Banquet program. Again, a fundraiser for our sports programs here on campus. Very excited about the good work going on and the work of the foundation to help get that along, but also our coaching staff as well that get the people to donate. I'm thinking of Rick Smith particularly, going out and talking to folks, getting donations of equipment and all kinds of stuff out there. It's I tell you what, you can come just like you are. Some people will be wearing like camis, some people will be wearing suits. It's just a blend. So come as you are and enjoy the Sportsman's Banquet on Saturday at 5:30. Remember I mentioned that we pulled the equipment, the cardio equipment, out of the hangar and moved that into the gymnasium. Well, what happened to that space in the hangar? That is going to be our new security command center. Our focus is on, again, continuing safety. It's one of our priorities. It's one of our beliefs. It's one of the areas of focus for our Board of Trustees. It's absolutely essential that as an employee, as our students, as guests of this community, that you feel like you're in a safe environment. So we have armed staff 24/7. We've partnered with the Sheriff's Deputy's Office, so they're out here. We also have the armed DK staff and our own staff, Jeff Whipple and his team as well. That's great. But we also have hundreds of cameras all over campus, and we need to get a better handle on that and have a coordinated deployment should there ever be an incident, and hopefully, God willing, that never happens here. But in the event that it does, we have a command center. So we're actually going to be converting that space where that cardio equipment was in the hangar, and that is going to be lots of cameras and technology. I'm told it's going to look like the bridge of the Starship Enterprise in there. And they're going to be monitoring safety and security for all of us as employees and students and making sure that we continue to be as safe as possible on campus. So you're going to hear more about that. Whoop, holy cow. Speedy Gonzalez up here moving through this little clicker. Center updates. Want to talk to you about a few things here. The Latarte Center, lots of good things. I'll tell you what, one of the really exciting things, and I appreciate Dr. Woods and Michael Masters and others in trying to get this done. I'm really excited about this partnership we have with Michigan Works. I know Tina's been a part of that conversation, Tina Mance as well. Being able to provide the education for adult basic education and general education development credentials here at Jackson College is really, really good. One of the things I like about this particularly is for those who complete their GED, we also provide a 3-semester credit hour scholarship for students to encourage them. Not only can you complete your GED, but you also can go to college. College is possible for you, and here's a free scholarship because we believe in you. And I'm excited about what that means, not only here on the central campus, but also other campuses as well. I'm also very excited about the leadership Michael's been providing with regard to the early middle college in Hillsdale County. That partnership, been working very closely with our deans and with Rebecca, and making sure that the local superintendents are very happy with the kind of relationship and opportunity that we'll provide to the students in their region. A lot of these smaller school districts, the smaller rural school districts, don't have the resources, so by being able to partner with us for early middle college education provides opportunities that are untold resources to many of the students in the hinterlands of our service area. So I really appreciate the good work there. We've got 2 new staff there we're excited about. You're going to meet some of those folks in just a minute, so I won't steal that thunder. Over in the ISD Tech Center, again, the same kind of partnership with regard to the GED partnership, and really appreciate the good work going on here with Onsted. The new superintendent at the ISD in Lenawee County used to be the superintendent at Onsted. And Dr. Todd Butler and Rebecca and Michael and others have been working very closely to see, can we kind of pilot test, beta test some things that are going on. And I'm particularly intrigued by this developmental education math curriculum being offered and embedded into the high school curriculum. I would love the fact that we would never have to do developmental education on this campus ever because it was handled before students got to us, and we could just absolutely concentrate on training and education necessary to be productive citizens in our community. I don't think that will ever happen in my lifetime. But until then, we're going to continue to experiment, and I appreciate the leadership of these individuals in trying to think new ways of helping students be prepared for success when they get to this institution, so we don't have to use their federal financial aid and draw that down on developmental education courses before they even get here. So very, very excited about the work here, and also the LSD Academy, number 30 on the list of all public schools with the highest SAT score, so something good is happening there as well. On the Maher campus, speaking of Jason Valente and Bridget, the cheerleader of the North Campus, we got some other good things going on. Because there's so much growth going on there, we've actually had to expand the parking lot. And so for those of you who have been there, we've actually prepared some space immediately to the east of the existing parking lot. We're also seeing a significant increase of out-county students coming. A lot of the students are actually stopping there. It's actually a kind of a good way station for people that are commuting using I-94 or 127. They're stopping there. It's an easy on, easy off, pick up some college credits and do well. They also have a rather large professional development spaces, so we're also finding business and industry and other organizations coming in, like Junior Achievement and others, having an opportunity to be on one of our campuses and engaging in professional development retreats and those kinds of things. So that's a tremendous resource, not only for our institution, but also for the community overall. Foundation, some great things happening there. Of course, you know we've had a number of endowed chairs, 2 endowed chairs for a number of years. Dr. Stephen Albee Scott and Stephen Tuckey have been the endowed chairpersons for these funded programs. Endowed chairs at Jackson College represent $1 million investment by the donor. We have recently been working with Peggy Maher to establish the 3rd endowed chair for regional history. Diana Agee is providing the leadership on that and has been doing amazing work with building this relationship with Peggy Maher and honoring her father with the naming of this facility, but also believing so much that history matters. It's important. If we don't understand our own history, we're bound to repeat it, the expression goes. So understanding the richness of our history and recording that for all time and keeping that alive. It's interesting to me that this work has already unearthed some really interesting treasures. Diana had shared some of that stuff with us. At the fact at our Board of Trustees meeting, one of the things they found was the college's fight song. Did you know we had one? I didn't. They actually presented it to the Board of Trustees. It's actually quite good. It has that kind of rousing music going with it. A very, very good song. You'll probably hear it at some sporting event in the near future. But very excited about the good work there. And then we're actually in discussions right now with another donor to create the fourth endowed chair to recognize and honor faculty of distinction who hold these chair titles in advancing the curriculum and perfecting their craft as being an endowed chair. So we're excited about that. Also at the foundation, they were selected Dr. John Lake for the 2017 Ethylene Jones Crockett Award. So we honor John Lake. Our Board of Trustees received that information and approved that on Monday night at our board meeting. And then, of course, the second Lieutenant Zenith Pond Soaring Young Alumni Award was just created. This was all unearthed as part of Diana Agee's work with her students and finding out who Zenith Pond was and his family and his work in the war overseas and how he was related to Bill Maher. And you know, lives are very interesting things. They intersect and they weave and they create patterns that you wouldn't see otherwise, but by fact that you go in and understand the history of what's happened and understand deeply and richly who these people are. And being a part of that and understanding that and creating this new alumni award is pretty impressive for me to witness. We're having some discussions on campus with regard to tuition and fees. We have continued to have traditional tuition rates and universal fees, and then we have course fees that are going on. There are some interesting models that are happening out there, frankly, conversations that are occurring that are attracting my attention and prompting me to have discussions internally. And I would be very interested to hear your thoughts on it. Feel free to shoot back some emails to me. But there are institutions of higher education, that have thought differently about promoting tuition and fees. So many of our students get upset, nationally I'm speaking, they get upset because they come in, they believe that they've got the check that they need to pay for tuition and fees for the classes that I need. And they get here and they realize that there's all these other fees on top of it. In fact, we've actually lost some students because they understand this is what it's going to cost me, and they find out there are other fees. If you doubt my word on this, talk to the people at the business office window. They will tell you that people come in and they say, I thought it was this much. Well, it's also this. That is a universally held concern by students and parents across the country. And so I'm seeing an opportunity for us to consider other options about the way not only that we market it or package it, but that we are truthful about it. Oftentimes I've heard parents and students alike express to me that you're not being very honest with us when you're not completely overt about what all those expenses are. Well, we are. It's in the catalog. It's all there. But you know what? For the average person, it's hard to figure out. It's hard to find it, right? And so they get upset because I couldn't figure that out. Well, why isn't it all on this page? And gosh, I was in this program and that's got another course fee and then this one. It's confusing. So sometime just pick 3 or 4 courses and you tell me what you think you're going to have to pay. Odds are you're probably wrong beyond just tuition. And so you're seeing institutions of higher education doing things like having a subscription rate. Subscription says, for example, that you pay us a flat rate, $5,000, let's say, and you can take all the courses you want from January until May 1st, take all the courses you want. You go as fast with great alacrity if you want. Take all the courses you want, $5,000, that's it, that's everything, all in, right? Some other institutions have bundled, so let's put tuition and fees together for everything. If you think about it, universal fees are really just another way that we've expressed tuition, right? It's the game that's played out there in every institution of higher education, all 50 states. It's just the way it's done. But does it make it the right way to do this? Is it the right way for us to be honest and transparent with our public? I'm thinking not. And so I'm going to have a conversation about this. Our leadership team is talking about it already. We're going to talk with our Board of Trustees about it and see what you think. Dottie Karkic and her team, Cindy Allen as well, they're going to be holding focus groups of alumni, of adults, of business people, of current students all over this county and other counties to try to understand what would you like to see? What would you hope that looks like? How could we improve transparency? Hopefully we'll have a recommendation for our board to consider at our spring retreat. But I would be very interested in your input and your thoughts about what we could do to be more transparent, to be very clear to the students who come to us about what the true cost is going to be of coming to this institution. So I want to hear from you on that. On to budget. Daryl's bailiwick. All right, this is, you all get this information. A few points of note. This is where we currently are with regard to percentages relative to a year ago at this time. So the fall semester, we were about 1.8% down from a year ago at this time. We've still got some late start classes and opportunities here for this winter semester, but right now we're about 6.5% down in enrollment from where we were a year ago at this time. We also have summer enrollment to put in there yet, but I suspect that we're going to be very close to that national average of all 1,100 community colleges nationally being about 2.63% down from where we were a year ago at this time. Take some time to look at this. You'll get a sense about where the students are enrolling by location in terms of billing contact hour generation or by overall head count. And we have a histogram for you to be able to see there as well. This is what our budget's looking like as of the end of January. We shared this information with our Board of Trustees. We are pretty much on path with regard to revenues and when we receive those, the cycle at which we receive those. And the expenses, we've got that pretty well planned out. Daryl and his team in the business office just do amazing work. The efficiencies, the software that he's brought to bear, the projections that he's provided for institution have given us a level of insight and stability that has just really been great for me to see. The understanding of our position with regard to cash flow, where we are financially, how we could deal with any unforeseen issues, for example, like a 0% increase in state aid. How would we be able to deal with that and making sure that we're still operating the college effectively, making sure we're paying all of our obligations on time, and that we have a very thoughtful plan for the future. In fact, our Board of Trustees requires that we project a 5-year forward look ahead on where we're going to be with regard to thoughts about tuition, fees, expenses. And appreciate the good work. So we're sitting right now about $8.1 million ahead, but this is only the end of January. We've got a number of months to go yet, so we'll be winding that down. But so far, we're doing pretty well, and we are on plan to balance the year out okay. Some takeaways with regard to the budget I want to make sure you'll be aware of is that we are seeing a number of billing contact hours coming up as a result of our prison location, the Prison Education Initiative, the PEI program. Gary Kale, Todd Butler, we've got some really good folks who are really doing some meaningful work in providing second chance opportunities for students who may not have even thought about that. There are millions of individuals who are locked away in prison. In fact, we have 5% of the world's population, 5% of the world's population, but we've got 20% of the world's incarcerated population in these United States. So we're thinking about what can higher education institutions do to help individuals so that they have an opportunity to come out and have a meaningful skill set and can be a contributor to society. We have found, and research has proven, that interventions, particularly educational interventions, have a meaningful impact in reducing the cases of recidivism in our community. And we're excited about that. One of the best moments of my life was being at the Phi Theta Kappa board meeting. I was telling Martha about this. It'll be announced next week. That the Phi Theta Kappa board voted to allow Phi Theta Kappa honors membership for individuals who are incarcerated, who are meeting the qualifications. At Jackson College, that converts to 168 inmates currently who would qualify for academic honors through Phi Theta Kappa. That's announced, and that will be coming out shortly. So we give other hope and opportunity for individuals who've made a mistake in their life, who are paying their debt to society, and when they come out, understand that people believe in them and hope that they make and continue to make positive contributions. Housing capacity is off a little bit. Actually, that works out well for us because we've actually had a problem with construction. We needed these rooms to come offline in order to take care of some water problems related to the shower and shower installations, and it's created some leaks in lower floors. If you're on the 4th floor, it's okay, but the lower 3 floors, not so good. So we're actually using this time to be able to fix some things in that regard. It is, as I mentioned, we are going to be able to balance out the year, but we still need all budget managers to be very thoughtful about how you're managing your resources and spend according to what we absolutely need to be able to do, and making sure that instruction is happening in the way that you need, that you have the supplies you need and the tools you need to be successful. With regard to the new budget year, this is already underway. Appreciate Daryl and his team putting together a schedule of what this is going to look like, but here we're sitting right here at the 10th. So the template has already gone out for all budget managers to begin speaking to what we are going to need to be able to run the institution. And this is a zero-based budgeting approach, so it's not like you're going to get 5% on top of what you had last year. You actually go through and say, what do I really need to run my department? What has the experience been for the last 8 months to tell me and inform me about the future budget? And that's what's happening in this area. In fact, all of you have the opportunity to speak with your budget manager and influence the budget and availability of resources to support your good work at this college. So this is finishing up here. The next, starting in a week, will be the budget manager meeting with the leadership council to discuss budget proposals. We've got interviews set aside to be able to hear and understand what are the goals and what are the opportunities, what innovations, what new things do they want to start in their department, and then ultimately reviewed on the 8th, and then we go before the Board of Trustees at our planning session on March 22nd. So that's the timeline that we're working on. And so if you've had ideas or thoughts, make sure that they're included in the budget recommendations for your budget manager, and we'll give them every consideration. A quick update about the health clinic. In the interim period, until we get the Oasis Center up and running, we have now a partnership, a continuing partnership, I should say, with the great folks here in town. We are excited about Lifeways partnering with us and making available Karen Schmidt, who is going to serve as our social worker with these hours. So on Tuesday from 10 to 2 and Wednesday from 1 to 5. That's what we're able to make work now. Our intention with the Oasis Center is actually that we would be available almost every day, and we're even thinking about maybe even some time on weekend. And Cindy is negotiating that with potential partners who would be the professionals in this space in providing expanded support for students and understanding when is the highest traffic, not only for students, but for employees as well. And this is kind of a stopgap measure until we get the Oasis Center up and running. With regard to marketing, lots of things going on. We're being recognized nationally. Congrats to Dottie and her staff. Amazing work going on here. We continue to receive gold and silver and bronze medals for the great work we're doing. Here are some examples of what those publications look like. National signage, National Paragon Award for the interior signage in the Jets hangar. How many people have not been to the Jets hangar yet? Show of hands. Don't be embarrassed. Go ahead. They have great subways up there, by the way. I just need to say that. Subway. But it's also a great place to hang out. There's a nice meeting room up there as well. But there's also some just great interior signage in that space. It just really carries that theme about our moniker, our mascot, the Jet. Is very, very nice. And I think this is a very deserving award. Dottie Karkik was recognized as the Outstanding Communicator of the Year. Jackson College is great because you are great, and it's nice that people outside of this organization recognize the good work going on at Jackson College. Multicultural Affairs. We just finished the Martin Luther King celebration. Always a great event. Oh, packed house. We actually had to turn people away this year. I felt so badly about this. I tell you, Lee and Kelly are doing just some really good work with community relations and student success overall. Whether it be the work of Men of Merit and Sisters of Strength, or the African American Male Summit, or the Martin Luther King celebration, Antoine has been an awesome addition to our programming as well. The relationships that these folks are developing with our students and with our community is having a very profound impact in our community. We're very happy to have this young lady, Dr. Lauren Dungy Porthras, sister of Tony Dungy of Indianapolis Colts fame. We're glad to have her there. She gave a very compelling speech to all the attendees, and we were also very excited to be giving Robert Burton, Sr., known to many of you in the Jackson Public School system, the recognition this year of the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Medal of Service Award. Always very, very pleased and honored to recognize one of our own in the community in advancing Martin Luther King and the principles that Dr. King held and believed so strongly for our country. Before that, though, we actually had an event on campus related to STEM conference, a lot of good STEM conversations. You'll notice some people that you see right here. This is the chairman of our board, Sam Barnes, but also Stephen Albee Scott and Stephen Tuckey over there as well. Good conversation. The room was packed full of students who are wanting to know, how does STEM affect me? What is STEM like? What does that really mean? What does STEM stand for? And what should I be doing? Dr. Porthras is actually a medical doctor, sitting right here on the end, and her message was, anybody can do this. You've got to believe in yourself, but you also have got to engage in education. And math is not that hard. There's this big belief out there that math is really, really hard, and I can't do it, and I'm stupid. And she really gave a nice message about it's not that hard. Anybody can do it. You just have to apply yourself and be committed to the work. A great message, and I was so pleased, especially to the doctors, Stephen, for being a part of this, as well as our board chair. We also had a forum on campus as well. Great discussion from various leaders in our community and guests as well, talking about through the eyes of Dr. King, the White House, with reflections there. You know what? I am just really, really pleased at the level of professionalism and the quality of programs that we're providing for our young people and adults too, and displaced workers and our community. Having these events on campus, bringing people to this campus so that they understand the vibrancy, the intellectual vibrancy of this campus and its centrality to the economic success of the region. A healthy Jackson College means a healthy Jackson County. And building that relation and communicating that by programs and services like that are to your credit. And I appreciate the innovation and ideation to create these things and moving forward for our institution. Speaking of Men of Merit and Sisters of Strength, busy plan here for spring break. So typically these folks go out and raise money. In fact, if you had been at the Martin Luther King dinner, they're out there selling roses and chocolate, raising money to be able to make this van trip into the D.C. area and Philadelphia, learning more about our nation's government, understanding more about the history of diversity in our country, and also educating these people, some of whom have not been outside of Michigan or Jackson County. So this is a great practical, hands-on applied learning opportunity, and appreciate the good work again of Antoine and Kelly and Lee in advancing this good work for our students. So you'll be getting a survey in the mail February 2nd, that week anyway. So this is an opportunity for us to give us some feedback about how we're doing. We think we're doing some great things at Jackson College, whether it be about leadership academies on campus, whether it be forums such as this, professional development like this morning, different events. We'd like to hear from you. It's called the PACE Survey. And it's really an opportunity for us to see how we're doing. What is the culture like at Jackson College? And it's normative data, so we're actually benchmarking against other community colleges out there nationally. We want to know how we're doing. It also gives us an opportunity to evaluate how we can do a better job. It'll take you about 15 minutes. You can burn through it. Some of you have taken similar surveys in the past, but we ask you to do that. And I wanted to mention the results will not only be benchmarked against benchmark, but also the results will be reviewed by the Workforce Focus Committee. Remember, workforce is one of the 12 areas of principal focus by our Board of Trustees. They want to know how we're doing as a college community. We are the workforce that the College Board is focused on one of their 12 focus areas. So we want to not only look at how we compare to our other institutions around the countryside, but we also want to have a particular focus on areas of improvement, and we will use that in the Workforce Focus program to be able to do a better job. So a number of things have already come out of the Workforce Focus initiative, that Workforce Focus Committee, which have continued to improve us. So we get better by learning where we can build upon our existing strengths and areas where we're not doing as well. Yes? Awesome. Thank you very much. Is that Sheila? Yeah. Thank you, Sheila. Awesome. Thank you for the clarity on that. We've got new employees at Jackson College. Don't know if you know that. Cindy Allen's going to introduce them.
I think I have like negative 2 minutes to get this done to keep us on track, so we'll go through it quickly. Jamie Morris, one of our new Student Success Navigators. Lindsay Sawyer, accountant in the business office. Cassidy Stepke, not new to our organizations, but new in her new position as our First Impressions Liaison. Thank you. Kathy Crowley, I'm not sure if you're here. Again, another person who's worked in our weight room for a while, but she's now also working over in our print shop for us. I think she's here. All right. Thank you. Another one from our Prisoner Education Initiative, Lindsay Adams. I think a lot of people have seen the face. Adjunct as well. And everyone met Jeremy earlier. Jeremy, come on down with some energy. Darren Chase from our International Institute. See, didn't someone tell you guys to sit closer? Jeremy, remember, Price is Right. Come on down, you're excited. Lauren Stevenson, Financial Aid Specialist. Brought your own reading section, good for you. Not a new face to Jackson College, but Maggie. Nobody recognizes Maggie without their uniform on. Thank you. Amanda Palma, Student Success Navigator. From our Hillsdale Center, Nicole Heppenbecker, who was our student and then a temporary employee and now in a regular position down there. Thank you. Up next, supporting our foundation, Jennifer Brookett, a great steal from Siena Heights. This looks like a real familiar face for a new employee, but Keegan Moore, come on down. Hi. Here we go. Up next from our library, Catherine Burns. New faculty member in our ag program, Christy Macy. Macy? Macy. Thank you. Up next, Becky Nicholson, our new Allied Health Coordinator. Again, another familiar face, Vincent Rose. I know has been working over in the Solution Center and the PEI, but now he has a regular position in our Solution Center again. Vincent, come on down. Thank you. One of our other new faculties. Actually, she used to clean my teeth. And it happens to be Monica Mose's mother. Oh, sorry. Thank you. Pat Gunther. And just starting this week, our very newest employee, and I know Rob's going to holler really loud. He's happy to have some additional help in your area, but Christina Ahn. So this is the point where you guys sing the new fight song the president was talking about earlier. Nailed it? We don't even have any words to it yet, but thank you for your innovation. Let's give a warm round of applause to our newest Jackson College employees. Woo! Welcome to Jackson College, guys. Thank you. Now it's actually time for our break, so I know you guys need to get up, stretch your legs, make a bathroom break. I think our next sessions are going to be probably about 10 minutes behind, but we will start them later so that you have time for a break. Thank you.